Americans love the idea of owning a piece of land. It's the ultimate dream, the founding myth. Your own house on your own property, where you are the king, the queen, the sole elected dictator of a small territory. This is the end of the journey, the reward for years of hard work, a personal fortress you can retreat into, untouched by the demands of the outside world. But there is an interesting truth about those pieces of land, one that real estate brochures rarely mention. The more people who own small plots right next to each other, the more the concept of anything you want becomes narrower, more subtle, and ultimately redefined. And nowhere is this strange social phenomenon more clear, more tightly regulated, and more widely accepted than in a neighborhood managed by a homeowners association or HOA. You buy a house, sign a mountain of papers in a lawyer's office, and suddenly you discover that your castle is actually a horizontal apartment complex, with interior decorating rules expanded to the entire block. And your neighbors are also your co-managers in a permanent collective project. You think you are buying freedom, but in reality, you are entering into an agreement, a complex social contract. You are free to enjoy your property as long as you follow the detailed principles about house paint colors, the height and material of your fence, the type of plants you are allowed to grow, the percentage of grass versus native plants, and even the exact distance from your trash can to the edge of your property on any given day. There is a beautiful and confusing paradox here. You pay a mortgage for 30 years to feel like the absolute owner, but you must ask permission from a committee of neighbors you didn't even directly elect to be allowed to install a garden swing, hang a porch light, or change the font of your house numbers. Your freedom is measured in feet and inches, defined by specific Pantone color codes, and constantly watched by curious, meticulous eyes peeking through curtains who are being watched in the same way. It is a system of mutual surveillance where everyone is both the guard and the prisoner, all participating voluntarily. And then you receive the first HOA newsletter. It is not just a piece of paper. It is a manifesto, a gentle but firm reminder of your new reality. It reminds you of the rules, about upcoming social events like summer barbecues, and about the supreme importance of maintaining community aesthetics and value. You start to notice things you never saw before. Is the paint color of the house across the street truly within the approved palette, or is it a slightly different shade of beige? Is the grass in your left neighbor's lawn taller than the regulated 3.5 inches? Is the old truck of your right neighbor, the one he's fixing on weekends, considered an inoperable vehicle and thus a violation of the covenant? You become the watcher and the watched at the same time. You are not just living in your house. You are playing a role in a vast community play, a play whose script is written and revised by a group of people meeting in secret on Tuesday nights in some community room. True freedom, you begin to realize slowly, is not the complete absence of barriers. It is about having barriers that are high and strong enough to stop other neighbors from doing things you dislike or find ugly, but low and transparent enough that you don't feel you are living in a highly managed theme park. It is a delicate balance between protection and imprisonment, and you have just stepped inside. Life in an HOA neighborhood, over time, is like a subtle and complex dance, where every step, every gesture is pre-calculated and must follow the common rhythm. You want to hang Christmas lights? Great, we encourage holiday spirit. But be sure you hang them on the correct date in the democratically approved schedule, usually no earlier than the week after Thanksgiving, and must be taken down before January 2nd, to ensure the neighborhood doesn't look messy or unprofessional. You want to plant a beautiful rose bush in the front garden corner? Sounds lovely and romantic. But first, check the list of pre-approved plants. Make sure that rose variety is on the list and confirm that it doesn't block safety sightlines at intersections, isn't considered a potential nuisance to pedestrians, and doesn't attract animals the community might find undesirable. Every spontaneous action, every personal mark, every desire for self-expression must pass through an invisible but ever-present filter of collective approval. You are no longer living just for yourself and your family. You are living for the maintained property value of the entire neighborhood, for the aesthetic harmony of the group, for an abstract but powerful idea of perfection and order. Your house is no longer just a shelter. It is an element in a collective work of art, and you are the curator, responsible for keeping your part in line with the whole picture. And then, inevitably, there are conflicts. But these conflicts are rarely noisy riots, angry confrontations. They are passive battles waged with paper and soft tones. A letter sent via official mail, nicely printed and formal on HOA letterhead, politely informing you that your trash can was seen at the curb more than 3 hours after the garbage truck passed, violating Article 7, Section C on landscape maintenance. A gentle, almost friendly phone call from the HOA president, asking if you were aware that your old car, the one you love and that still runs well, was violating the clause on inoperable vehicles by being parked in your own driveway for more than 72 consecutive hours. These encounters are not loud or rude. They are deadly quiet, disguised under the guise of community concern and rule compliance. They make you wonder about the very basic concept of ownership. What do you truly own if you cannot decide when to put your trash can away, or what car you are allowed to own and where to keep it on your own property? Ownership in this context seems to be conditional ownership. You own it as long as you use it in the way the community pre-agreed. The deepest irony of all is that most people living in these HOAs fundamentally agree with the rules. They like the neatness, the order, and the near absolute assurance that the house next door will never be painted a loud fuchsia pink, or turn the front yard into a junkyard for mechanic projects, or throw loud parties until late at night. They have actively bought into this idea. They have chosen it. They do not see the rules as oppression by an elite group. They see them as protection against chaos and declining value. They were willing to trade a little personal freedom, a few personal choices, for a lot of psychological and financial peace of mind. And this is the core trade-off of so much of modern life. We give up personal power and autonomy to reduce risk and uncertainty. We choose a predictable, managed, controlled life where weeds and mess, both literal and figurative, are systematically removed. We collectively build oases of consensus, climate-controlled spaces where the only differences allowed are small, subtle, pre-approved ones that never threaten the overall harmony. Over time, a strange and almost unnoticeable psychological shift begins to happen. You no longer see the rules as external restrictions. You begin to feel them, internalize them, and eventually see them as natural guidelines for an orderly life. You drive home from work through the winding streets of the neighborhood, and the perfect symmetry of the houses, the carefully trimmed lawns, the evenly planted trees, begins to give you a deep sense of comfort, a feeling of relaxation. It looks orderly. It looks safe. It looks right. You begin to not just accept, but appreciate the consistency, the certainty that everything will always be in its place, that your surroundings will never surprise you in a negative way. The initial resistance, the slight frustration with the rules, slowly fades, replaced by a silent acceptance, even support. You become part of the order-maintaining machine. You might even attend an HOA meeting and vote in favor of a new rule, a more detailed regulation about installing solar panels on roofs, or which type of decorative fence is in keeping with the character and architectural heritage of the neighborhood. And then, one day, you see a house that doesn't follow the rule. Maybe they hang a political or commercial sign that the HOA doesn't allow. Maybe they plant a large, lush vegetable garden in the front yard with tomatoes, peppers, and squash, vines instead of a green, uniform, expensive-to-maintain lawn. And instead of feeling sympathy for their creativity or admiration for their independence, you feel a vague discomfort, a sense of aesthetic offense. It looks messy. It doesn't fit. It breaks the smooth flow, the pleasant uniformity of the surroundings. You wonder, perhaps with a bit of irritation, why they can't just follow the rules like everyone else. Why do they have to stand out like that? In that moment, you understand the whole play, the entire social mechanism. You are not just being managed, you are becoming the manager. The personal freedom you gave up no longer feels like a loss. Now, it feels like a responsible contribution, a sacrifice for the greater common good. You traded the right to be different for the privilege of living in a protected world where no one else is allowed to be different, a mutual guarantee against surprise. In the end, perhaps this is the true hidden nature of freedom within the HOA guidelines. It is not freedom from rules. It is freedom from surprise, from unpredictability, from the constant fear that your neighbor will do something strange, ugly, disruptive, or simply unanticipated. It is a social agreement among strangers to collectively maintain a shared illusion of total control over their environment. We build these invisible walls not to keep ourselves in, but to keep chaos, randomness, and disagreeable aesthetics out. And we call it freedom, because within those walls, nothing happens without the silent collective consensus. No weeds, no ugly old cars, and certainly no messy vegetable gardens in the front yard. Only peace, quiet, predictability, and a uniform shade of green, perfectly trimmed to the inch. And for many people, that is truly a dream come true, a planned paradise. For others, it is a sophisticated mental prison without doors, where the soul of a community is sacrificed for its appearance. And most of us live there, in the gray area, in between, no longer even realizing which side we have chosen, or if we ever had a real choice at all.